Hello, all dear subscribers and guests of the channel. I try very hard for you to learn more interesting things from our world. About this will not tell in the school and the government. Please appreciate my work. Please do not forget to subscribe, and like that, more people would see the truth. I will be glad to try for you. Enjoy the view. Respectfully find out. Mysterious finds that changed history. 150,000-year-old pipeline, 400,000-year-old river skeletons, and human neighborhood with dinosaurs. Findings by archaeologists that don't fit into official science have long stirred the minds of humankind. Did highly evolved civilizations inhabit the Earth? And where did the memory of them disappear to? With new discoveries, the past of Homo sapiens is being pushed further back in time. Until recently, the discovery of the Janskaya site has caused archaeologists to rejoice. Of course, it turned out that people lived there 2.5 thousand years ago, and recently, geneticists have estimated that the common foremother of all people lived 200,000 years ago. So how old are humans? Prehistoric pipeline. The discovery by Chinese archaeologists in the 60-meter high Bagan Mountain, located near Lake Tosan in a desert area near the city of Dalinhai in Tibet, fits the geneticists' calculations quite well. In 1996, a Chinese archaeologist found a 6-meter-long cave in the mountain, the wall of which had iron pipes stacked in a neat trough, going deep into the mountain under a cave in. The largest of the pipes was 40 centimeters in diameter, and the smallest was 2 centimeters. Part of the ancient pipeline was also found in Lake Tosan itself. Some pipes protruded above the surface, while others were hidden in the water. Of course, a sawed-off part of one of the pipes was immediately sent for examination. The examination showed that they were made of an alloy including iron, silicon, calcium, sodium, and potassium. The dating stunned archaeologists. It turned out that the ancient pipeline could be more than 150,000 years old. Surprising was also the fact that the waters of Lake Tosan were salty. So until the end, it is not clear why the ancient people needed the salty water deep in the mountain. On the other hand, ancient people did not necessarily have to pump something into the mountain. It may well be that they took out of it, for example, mineral water. This would easily explain the fact that the pipes inside are completely overgrown with mineral. Chinese archaeologists never dared to explain the ancient pipes in such a harsh, arid place. Researchers have suggested that Mount Bagan is the remains of an ancient pyramid, and that the salt water was needed by ancient people as an electrolyte and was most likely supplied inside the pyramid to some kind of mechanism. A man even older than that. In 1913, the German archaeologist Hans Reck came to Tanzania and in the famous Olduvai Gorge, where fossils of ancient apes had been found before, found a complete, perfectly preserved skeleton of Homo sapiens. The skeleton was found on the northern slope of the gorge in the upper layer II, the age of which geologists estimated at 1.7 million years. It was a very hard clay tuff, and the human skeleton was extracted from it just like other fossils, with a chisel and hammer. Reck found no trace of burial. The layer had not been disturbed, and the leading British anthropologist of the time, George McCurdy, examined the remains and deemed the find authentic. Of course, there were skeptics. For example, a Kenyan archaeologist of British origin, Louis Leakey, flatly refused to believe Reck and himself made a trip to Olduvai Gorge in 1931. This trip reversed his opinion, and Leakey returned as a supporter of Reck. Teaming up with Hope Wood of the British Museum, Leakey and Reck published an article about the find in Nature magazine. The article, of course, caused a flurry of outrage in the scientific community, and other archaeologists rushed to expose their comrades. Finally, archaeologist Boswell extracted a sample of pigment from the same layer. This proved that Reck found the burial. So what did you think? It rejuvenated the skeleton by only a factor of 3. Now it was estimated to be 400,000 years old. Over time, there were more supporters of Reck. Scientists thought that Boswell's specimen might not have belonged to the place where the skeleton was found. Others hinted that Boswell, in defending the science, might have gone foraging. And that meant one thing. The age of modern man had now increased to 1.5 million years. Unknown footprints. In favor of the fact that there is something we do not know about our history, evidence of human footprints, which are adjacent to dinosaur footprints. The most famous example is the discovery in Texas, where the neighborhood of human and lizard footprints was found at the confluence of the Paluxy and Brazos rivers. They were first seen in 1909 by a local teenager. Scientists determined that the three-toed footprints belonged to a carnivorous theropod dinosaur. And in 1910, a new find literally shook the minds of local scientists. Dinosaur footprints were found next to large human footprints. The size of the foot of the dinosaur contemporary was large, about 38 centimeters. The ornithologists immediately attributed the origin of the footprints to the fact that it was a different dinosaur. Soon, another fossilized footprint measuring 38 centimeters found on the Ohio coast north of Parkersburg was described in American Anthropologist magazine. And in 1927, explorer Knapp found a fossilized boot print in the Triassic sandstone at Fisher Canyon, Nevada. The rock was determined to be 213 to 248 million years old. Micrographs of the footprint showed that the shoe's leather was hand-woven and the threads of the seams were thinner than the threads of early 20th century shoe. A similar footprint in a shoe was found in Utah in 1968, near the town of Antelope Springs. The rock on which the print was preserved belonged to the Cambrian period. Its age was 590 million years. In the same vein is fit and find in the depths of the famous U.S. Table Mountain. In 1856, in one of the gold-bearing mines at a depth of 200 feet, a skeleton of modern man was found. The rock layers in the mine were 33 million years old. Stone beads estimated to be 9 to 55 million years old were also found here. In Turkmenistan, in the Jurassic period, rocks 150 million years old. Soviet archaeologists found the footprint of man in 1983. The discovery was made by Amaniazov, a corresponding member of the Academy of Sciences. The footprints of a man of size 43 and nearby dinosaur footprints were found on the slope of the Kujitang Ridge. All this means that reasonable man is not tens of thousands of years old, but tens or even hundreds of millions of years old. Then why does official science believe that all these millions? Well, okay, let's not millions. Hundreds of thousands of years, man sat by the fire, whittling sticks, fiddling with primitive scrapers, and looking at the stars, completely not evolving over the years. So maybe there have been highly evolved civilizations on Earth more than once before? The mystery of the Tully Papyrus. In 1930, while strolling through the shops of Cairo, Albert Tully, head of the Egyptian department of the Vatican Museum, stumbled upon an ancient papyrus. The venerable monk wanted to buy the papyrus, but the owner charged an exorbitant price for it, and for the money Tully had, he graciously allowed the hieroglyphs to be copied on paper. So Tully had the contents of the papyrus. The monk was unable to translate the hieroglyphs himself and gave a copy of the papyrus to an Italian duke, Boris Reichsfels, a great connoisseur of Egyptian culture. From him, Tully learned that the text was 3,500 years old and dated to the reign of Pharaoh Thutmose II. But that is not what made Tully famous. The content of the papyrus was sensational. It contained evidence of the appearance of a huge fleet of heavenly guests to Pharaoh. In the 22nd year, in the 3rd month of winter, at the 6th hour of the day, the scribes of the House of Life saw a circle of fire in the sky. A stinking breath was coming out of its mouth, but it had no head and was silent. Its dimensions were 6 meters long and the same width. Of the miracle, the frightened scribes fell to their knees. When the circle was gone, they went to Pharaoh's palace and told him what they had seen in the sky. A few days later, the circles appeared in the sky in great numbers. They were brighter than the sun and spread out across the sky. Pharaoh watched them while he gathered his army. Then the circles rose higher and flew southward, and it rained birds and fish on the earth. No one had ever witnessed such a miracle before. The disturbed Pharaoh ordered incense to the god Amon-Ra and the scribes to write down everything they saw. Unfortunately, the Reichsfels translation is the only thing left of the Tully Papyrus. The curator of the museum passed away and all of his papers have disappeared. But the conclusion suggests itself. The Pharaoh Thutmose I witnessed the return of mankind's starfleet back to Earth. Astronauts returned from the stars found on their home planet for all descendants, who survived some natural or man-made cataclysm and began to rebuild society anew, from the beginning. This hypothesis quite explains the appearance of hieroglyphs among Egyptian inscriptions, which are similar to spaceships and attack helicopters, and also fully explains the appearance of the myth about the descent of heavenly gods to the earth who shared knowledge with them and took their sisters and daughters as wives. What do you think about it? Write your opinion in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share with a friend. Hi all dear friends. I'm glad to welcome all of you on my channel. All those who like to find something interesting for themselves. I will post more and more interesting videos for you. But since I'm just starting to develop this channel, I want to know your opinion. What topics are interesting for you? Maybe I will make some video of your interest theme so that people from around the world could learn more about our history and the secrets. Because we are hiding much of the truth and not telling people at the top of us from the ordinary people. While we're still very few, please share my work and message to the world with everyone you know. Maybe they will also be surprised by these videos, and it will contribute to the growth and development of the channel. I will try for you with all my might and will not let you down, dear people. Thank you, dear subscribers and guests of the channel. Please do not forget to subscribe and like and share this video. Thank you again.